Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for making everyone hate my brother and moving out? So I was not sure what to title it as, but here goes. Me and my half-brother have never gotten along, and he would always try to get me in trouble with my dad and stepmom, oftentimes successfully. Well, that leads us to 2 months ago. This time he decided to pretend I stole one of his lighters. He collects those flip-open lighters, not sure what they are called. Of course I didn't, but he told my parents, and they decided to check out my room, and guess what they found on my desk? His lighter, which he put there himself. As a result, I got chewed out as usual. But this time it was the final drop. I had been planning to move in with a good friend of mine for a year by then, ever since I turned 18. I'm 19 now. And that is what I did. I told my parents what I thought of them. I told my half-brother what I thought of them, told my other siblings that I would miss them, and most importantly, I took everything I own and moved to my friend. That includes the family Xbox, which I bought, the desktop, which I bought, the laptop, again mine, the Switch, which is mine, the big TV, which is mine. Well, you get the picture. Pretty much every expensive piece of electronics is mine, apart from their phones. Since I moved out, my brother got figured out as he tried to pull the same stuff on my youngest sibling, at which point my parents really started second-guessing him. Since, like me, my sister told them she didn't take anything, and my other sister said she saw him sneak into her room. From what I heard, it was a giant fight and they almost kicked him out. Meanwhile, I got a ton of apologetic messages from my parents, which I have yet to respond to. Well, 3 weeks ago, certain stuff happened, and now they are all stuck inside, and no one has anything to do because I took everything. Tempers have fled, and my siblings hate said brother now, and my parents are angry as well, and my parents have been begging me to move back in, and yesterday I received a message from my half-brother also begging me to come back and saying sorry. Am I the a-hole for essentially making everyone hate my brother and not moving back in knowing full well their lives will suck as a result? Edit. So some people say I should or could send something back for my younger siblings. But the reason I don't is because when I still lived there, my entitled shithead of a brother would hog the electronics for himself when I was not home. The only reason my other siblings got to play on them at all was because I made him give them back when I got home from work. I work really long shifts, so usually they would all be home from school by then for several hours. Me telling him to get off my stuff and letting my other siblings play on them is part of the reason why he would always try and often succeed at getting me in trouble. As for wanting me or the electronics back, the answer is probably a mix of both, as I am basically parent and babysitter number 3. I keep getting know-it-all numbskulls who are trying to disagree with me about everything, especially how much I made, and whether I was even able to work from a young age in my country. You can work when you are 13, with a bunch of rules about how long and on which days you can work. I started working at 14, stocking shelves at a supermarket. I made about €4 an hour if I remember correctly. I started making considerably more when I was older. Thanks for all the responses. You're not the a-hole OP. You don't have to move back home, and honestly, I would advise against it. You have so much more freedom where you are now. Why give that up? From your story, it seems like your parents only want you back for your electronics and to babysit your siblings. On top of that, their apology only came after you left, which makes it feel far less genuine. They believed your stepbrother over you multiple times and only got suspicious after you left. That says a lot about their parenting. You don't owe them anything. Stay where you are if you're happy, and only consider moving back if it's what you truly want. But honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. Do you have any concept how rare it is that every piece of entertainment tech in the house belongs to the oldest child? Why don't your parents have a TV? Or any systems of their own? Honestly, stay away. It sounds like you're a co-parent with none of the benefits. If you want to meet them halfway, maybe consider lending them the Switch for your younger siblings, but not your skeezy brother. Either way, go build your own life. You'll be happier, and in the long run, they will respect you for it. Not the a-hole. Everything that has happened is a result of your brother being caught after years of lying straight to your parents' faces. Your siblings are angry because they lost everything fun, and your parents are getting angrier with him because it just keeps hitting them about what he did, and it upsets them that they lost you because of themselves and him. I would still say never move back in, because if your parents truly loved you, they never would have openly believed him without hearing you out at least. Not the a-hole. Very clearly not the a-hole. For whatever reason, you were assigned a scapegoat role, and your half-brother took advantage of that. You then moved out, gave honest opinions, and took what was rightfully yours. You didn't set him up to fall. You didn't collude with your other siblings. He set himself up by trying to set someone else up to be the fall guy to his BS. You are a rock star, just feeling even slightly guilty in a situation that you have no responsibility over. I think it's for the best if you stay moved out, but it may be worth getting in touch after this is over to see if bridges can be mended. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister the only reason her BF is with her is because of his fetish? My sister, 25 female, and I, 22 female, grew up in the deep south. My dad is almost 400 pounds, and my mom is close. I grew up as a fat kid. However, when I started college and moved to a very fitness-friendly state, CO, I lost a lot of weight. I started to care more about my looks. I became a personal trainer last year and got a rhinoplasty recently to fix my crooked humped nose. My sister decided to move up with me. My sister was not very approving of my weight loss, nor was she happy I did a lot to change my appearance. While we get along wonderfully most of the time, we still have fights about her thinking I'm vain. My sister's weight is around 300 pounds. I have offered her help. However, she just tells me life isn't about looks. Frankly, I don't care what she looks like. I just want her to be healthy and confident. My sister sometimes acts out at me a lot, especially when it comes to guys. When we have gone to bars, people can be cruel, saying, "What, your sisters couldn't tell?" or outwardly paying more attention to me. I defend her when I see it, but it still hurts her confidence. She has cried to me multiple times about dating, asking why can't anyone accept her for who she is. In January, my boyfriend of 2 years cheated on me. My sister told me that maybe he left because I was too vain and high maintenance. I ignored her. Around the time of the breakup, she started dating a guy, and I was happy for her. However, the guy gave off weird vibes, the way he looked at my sister when she ate, and making plans when my sister and I are supposed to do healthy activities. Since then, my sister has gained a massive amount of weight and has become more hostile towards me. Her boyfriend buys her large quantities of unhealthy food and insists that she needs to eat more. He is weirdly touchy with her and often dismisses things she says. They don't talk and just watch TV. She hasn't met his friends or family yet also. She complains how he never posts about her on social media. About a month ago, I had a friend over. This friend is interested in fetishes, and they recognized my sister's boyfriend from a feeder site. I didn't want to bring it up with my sister because that didn't seem like it was my place, but it worried me greatly. I recently downloaded multiple dating apps, and my sister, like any sister, wants to see who I matched with. I showed her, and she immediately said the only reason I got those matches is because I'm shallow. She then told me I might be more successful if I stop worrying so much about my looks, and said that her boyfriend loves her for her personality, not her looks. And girls who look really good get men who want them just for their looks. This angered me to the point where I told my sister that her boyfriend is a feeder and he doesn't love her. If he did, he would put her health over his fetish and actually want to introduce her to the people in his life. My sister has refused to talk to me for a week so far and calls me a horrible person along with my parents joining in. Everyone sucks here, OP. I get that you've been incredibly patient with your sister's remarks and behavior towards you because of your size, and it's understandable that you finally snapped. The fact that you waited until that moment to tell her your suspicions about her boyfriend makes it seem like you were holding on to that information just to find the right time to hurt her with it. Your sister also sucks for her jealousy and the way she's treated you. But as the older sibling, you have the responsibility to handle things better. She's likely going through a lot right now and could use your support. I really hope you can find a way to help her, encourage her to leave her boyfriend, and support her in getting healthier, emotionally and physically. Now for some comments. Everyone sucks here. Sounds like you guys are both horrible to each other. Maybe she'd be more willing to listen to your concerns and actually believe it came from a place of concern if you hadn't said this in a fit of anger after you insulted her. I think you need to have a long talk and then stop living with each other until you both gain some maturity. Enough that both of you will learn to shut up about the other's appearance and weight. Not the a-hole. As a big woman that has been fetishizing myself, your sister is being naive. I don't think she accepts her physical appearance as much as she claims to, and no partner should encourage weight gain. To each their own in the fetish world. I'm not judging, but this doesn't seem like a consensual feeder-eater relationship, since she doesn't recognize what he's doing. She found someone she thinks accepts her as she is, so she's naturally going to be hurt and offended. But she needs to realize there are men out there that will like and love her for who she really is. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife I need an hour to myself after work? I, 37 male, work 11-hour days from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Monday to Friday. Also, my work is exhausting, and I'm typically constantly busy for those 11 hours, except for a half-hour lunch break. My wife, 33 male, is a stay-at-home mom to our 4- and 2-year-old children. She works very hard as well, taking care of them, as well as a majority of household duties. For the past 4 years, as soon as I got home around 6:30, I would immediately start helping with dinner. My wife and I eat a later dinner than our kids, and with helping take care of the kids. Once the kids were asleep, I would have to do work from home until I would go to sleep. I was okay with this even though I was exhausted, because I understood that sacrifices had to be made. However, I am now completely burning out. I told my wife that I feel like I need an hour to myself when I get home from work to unwind, so I am not in a permanent state of stress and exhaustion. I have literally zero free time on weekdays. I offered to allow her a break from 7:30 to 8:30 while I put the kids to bed. But she didn't like that idea since it would involve my only time with the kids being putting them to bed, and then she would never be involved in that. I understand her perspective, but I also can't keep continuing like this. I feel like I need an hour off to do my own thing so I don't go crazy. My wife thinks that the most important thing is me spending some time with my children, not just putting them to sleep, and that we need to make sacrifices for the next few years until they become more independent. I still haven't budged from my request since I am in a state of burnout. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife this? Information. I just got promoted and wouldn't feel comfortable going straight to asking for reduced hours. Also, based on the nature of the work, it wouldn't be super feasible. I am in a managerial position where I sort of have to be there from start to finish of the day. Now for some comments. I don't know if it's an a-hole thing or not an a-hole thing, but do you think that your wife isn't feeling the same way? That hour that you take to yourself, it's another hour she has to spend doing her full-time job, taking care of 2 young children. You're not the only one working. How much free time do you think she has? Actually, I've talked myself into you're the a-hole if you can't see that she's probably also struggling. You need to figure out something to change your work schedule. No a-holes here. You two are just in a tough situation. It's not okay for 5 days a week to only see your kids at bedtime. But it's also not okay to have no time to yourself 5 days a week. This seems like the perfect situation in which to compromise. Tuesdays or Thursdays, relax for an hour. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, spend time with kids. The next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, relax for an hour. And Tuesday, Thursday, spend time with kids. You haven't talked about your weekends at all, but there's room to compromise there as well. For example, on a week, you spend less time with your kids, taking them on a special trip, just you and the kids for half a day on the weekend. So your wife isn't concerned with how little you're seeing them.